Welcome everyone to our annual observance of the Buddhist Churches of America Bishop's Memorial Service. And also it's a pleasure to have back Reverend Endo from his return visit as our guest minister. He will be officiating the service and delivering today's Dharma message. Reverend Endo will work closely with many of the past bishops of the Buddhist Churches of America and currently serves as the executive assistant to the office of the bishop and to Reverend Marvin Harada, the current bishop of the BCA. Reverend Endo will open today's service with a moment of silent contemplation and meditation. Please join in Gassho as Sensei will ring the bell to begin the meditation and to conclude the silent meditation. Please join in Gassho. Please all rise for the opening gatha, Shikanji's journey in the purple book, page 196. And please remain standing for the Jodo Shinshu Creed. 196. Let us recite together. I affirm my faith in Amida's infinite wisdom and compassion. Reciting the sacred name, I shall live with strength and joy. I shall look to Amida's guiding light as I reflect upon my imperfect self and live with gratitude for the perfect compassion which surrounds me at all times. I shall follow Amida's teachings. I shall understand the right path and resolve to spread the true teachings. I rejoice in Amida's wisdom and compassion, and I shall respect and help beings and work for the good of my community. Namo Sensei will now lead in sutra chanting on page 79 of the Purple Book, Psalm Butsu.
슈퍼레뇨 가이시스롬베 유냐그주모그뇨라요겐 조세무림 조나그다요 오르지포 가이몬쇼진 산마이지에 이토르로 슈쇼케우지 타이센넨 쇼르스오카이 그진진노 그고라이나이 무묘요그 세소요그 닌노시시 진도그무뇨 그그고라이 지혜지묘 오묘리소 진도라이생 강가사르 사이쇼호모 가로쇼지 미흐게난 으세조이 가이니쇼진 요세사마이 지혜리죠 고세토그 의교시간 이사이그 이사다양 계시브 야크센노그왕 느뇨라이쇼 슈뇨고장 그요비사이 시도쇼그 은요그노 겐쇼그양기뇨고장 쇼브스세나이 으하게 무슈세스로 고묘시쇼 엔시쇼 요세쇼진 이진양요가사브 오그노라이 노슈기요 노조 조세 오그뇨라이요 니무토소 가도
The Bishop's Memorial Service that we are observing today is observed annually by the Buddhist Churches of America to express our gratitude for the service and innumerable contributions by the late bishops to conserve and further our practice of the Chopa Kinship. And we are pleased to have today the Executive Assistant to the Bishop's Office, Reverend Endo, who will deliver the message.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Before I begin my talk, you could just join me in God's show for the opening. Because of the vow, if that they should not be born there. When the moment of genuine entrusting has come, and people attain the one thought moment of joy, their birth becomes completely settled. From Shindan Shogun's Jodo Wasan. Namo Buddhist, Namo Buddhist, Namo Buddhist, Namo Buddhist. And good afternoon. Good to see all of you here today on this occasion of this very important, as our chairperson alluded to, this very important BCA Bishop's annual memorial service. First of all, I'd like to thank Diane. Who's Diane? Although she was only here earlier. Thank you for the kind invitation. On behalf of Daryl, I hope he's doing okay. Is Daryl here today? No. He's not. Oh, okay. I hope he's doing well. But thank you again for the invitation to be here on this occasion of your Bishop's memorial service. It seems to be a tradition now that I come on this occasion of this service, but it's always good to come back to Enmanji and to see many familiar faces and some new faces. So thank you again for coming today. So as the name of this service denotes, it is a time for us to remember the late bishops of the Buddhist Churches of America. For those that don't know, and I think I mentioned this previously when I've been here before, but currently 15 of our ministers, senseis, have served as bishop of the BCA throughout our history. And so today we remember those leaders, the ecclesiastical leaders, Dharma leaders of the BCA. For those of you who may not know the names of everybody, I'll just mention their names. It started with, in 1899, with Bishop Shue Sonoda and Reverend Bishop Tetsue Mizuki, followed by Bishop Kentori Hori, Bishop Koyu Uchida, Bishop Hosho Sasaki, Bishop Kenju Masuyama, Bishop Yotai Matsukage, Bishop Endo Shigefuji, Bishop Shinsho Hanayama, Bishop Kenryu Tsuji. Since the last time I spoke, as I was looking at my notes and as I reflect on the years that have passed, two of the bishops of BCA have returned to the Pure Land, and those were Bishop Seigen Yamaoka Sensei, and this year January, Bishop Hakubun Watanabe. And today, we still have with us, fortunately, Bishop Koshin Oguri, who resides in Japan, Bishop Kodo Umezu Sensei, I think all of you know Reverend Umezu, and of course our current bishop, Bishop Marvin Harada, who serves BCA right now. So since I've been working at BCA since 1996, so I've had the honor of directly serving under four of the bishops as the secretary and as executive assistant currently for namely Bishops Watanabe, Bishop Oguri, Bishop Umezu, and currently Bishop Harada. I didn't serve under this person that I'd like to speak about today, that I'd like to highlight today, but it was, I would like to share my thoughts on Bishop Reverend Dr. Seigen Yamaoka, who also again was Bishop of BCA. As I said, I did not serve under Bishop Yamaoka as when he was serving as bishop, but we do share a kind of a certain special relationship. As many of you know, Bishop Yamaoka, Reverend Yamaoka, returned to the Pure Land on December 15th, 2023, at the age of 89. And again, while I did not work together with Yamaoka Sensei when he was bishop, our paths would cross actually twice in my lifetime. And I would have the honor and privilege of working together with Yamaoka Sensei when he returned to the Buddhist Church of Oakland following his tenure as bishop of the BCA. So I was born 1965. Bishop Yamaoka came back from Japan studying for his ministry in Japan, came back in 1964, and his first assignment would actually be the Buddhist Church of Oakland, which is where I was born and raised, at the Oakland Church. And so he would serve at Oakland until 1971. And so I was only, I think, 6 at the time he left Oakland. So he knew, obviously, my family, my parents, I was born in 65, he came in 64, so for about 5-6 years, he got to know my folks. And in 1971, he was reassigned to the Buddhist Church of Stockton. And then in 1981, he would be elected Bishop of BCA. And at that time, the terms for bishop were, you could serve 3 5-year terms. Currently, it's 2 4-year terms, 8 years. In Yamamoto Sensei's time, it was up to 15 years you could serve. And so Sensei did serve 15 years as bishop until 1996. So in 1996, after Sensei concluded his tenure as bishop, those 15 years, he was still, I can't remember how old he was, but he still had the energy to serve the BCA as a minister. And so he was assigned, of all places, back to the Buddhist Church of Oakland after he completed his tenure. And so when Sensei returned to Oakland in 1996, I was already serving on the church board. And in 1998, we began to think about our Oakland Temple's centennial celebration, which would be in 2001. Sensei came to me and he asked me to take the presidency for the church and serve as the general chairman for our church's centennial. Of course, at first I told him no, because number one, I didn't want to take those positions. And number two, I thought personally I was still too young to take on that kind of a role for the church. At the time I was only 33. And because of Sensei's persistent, persuasive, and sort of pressuring style, I think Kent worked with Yamamoto Sensei, I'm sure, throughout those times. And you know how persistent and persuasive and pressuring you can be. But I gave in, and I assumed the role of president-elect for the church in 1998 for 2 years, and then became president and chairman of our centennial celebration in 2000 and 2001. As I reflect on on that period with Yamamoto Sensei, now I can say it was an honor, and I was grateful to Sensei for looking to me and giving me this opportunity to serve my home temple in this capacity. And so, as a leader, Sensei's persistent and persuasive character is what I think allowed him to be such an effective leader of the BCA as a minister and as bishop of the BCA. As bishop of the BCA for 15 years, we will be forever grateful for Sensei's leadership and dedication to carry out the goals of our national organization and for bringing the BCA to the forefront here in America and throughout the world. Of course, throughout Yamamoto Sensei's 44 years of ministry, so many of us here in BCA were fortunate to hear and to receive and share in his joy and his understanding of the Dharma and of Shinran Shonin's Nemo's teaching. As a minister, Yamamoto Sensei was effective in a way in which he could relate to people and counsel and provide support to those who were in need of spiritual guidance. In particular, Sensei was able to provide, as I watched him in his ministry, especially when he came back in 1996, he was able to provide this kind of wonderful comfort and guidance to those in times of especially pain and suffering, particularly in times of loss of a loved one. And I'll always remember that Sensei used to begin his messages at the funeral services and the memorial services with an opening statement, which went, I tried to recall exactly what the words were, but it was basically to this point. He would have everybody join hands together and listen to these words. Like the green persimmon ripening on the tree with time, feelings of sorrow and sadness turn to sweet memories with time. Like the green persimmon ripening on the tree with time, feelings of sorrow or sadness turn to sweet memories with time. I think Sensei realized through his studies of the Dharma that the difficulty and sadness we experience when losing a loved one in particular is something very true and very real. We've all, I'm sure everybody in this room has experienced this in their life. It is a pain that would continue to live on in our hearts if it were not for the teachings of the Buddha and the Namo. By listening and receiving the teachings, over time we come to gain a deeper understanding of the truth of this idea of impermanence that we always refer to in Buddhism, or of having to be separated from the ones we love. Such a deeper understanding turns our sadness to, as Sensei calls it, sweet memories of the interrelationship we enjoyed over time. And in short, I think Sensei was reminding us that it takes time. It takes time for all of us. Getting over such a difficult thing in our life, such a difficult experience in our life, takes time. Sensei's use of this idea of the green persimmon ripening over time and our memories of deep sorrow turning to sweet memories with time reminded me of some reflections shared to us recently by the late Reverend George Gattenby. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Reverend George Gattenby, but he wrote this three series books entitled Songs of Light, Reflections on the Hymns of Shindacho. The hymns referring to the wasans that we recite following, say, the chanting of Shoshinge. But he wrote this series of 3 books. I brought one of them that I'm going to reference today, but this is one of the 3 books that is now available at BCA Bookstore, so if you're interested. Reverend Gattenby was one of the first individuals in Australia to be ordained and receive Tokudo and Kyoshi from the Honganji. I don't know if you're familiar with the other minister from Australia, Reverend John Paraskevopoulos. He's also been a speaker at the IBS, BCA, JSC for a number of seminars and other gatherings, but he, together with Reverend Gattenby, received Tokudo and Kyoshi from the Honganji. And Reverend Gattenby's understanding of Shinran Shonin's teachings is something that I think is very deep and profound, yet I think he brings it down to a level to which we as common individuals can understand. I think many times when we refer to Shinran Shonin's Nemo's teaching and we reflect on his Shinran Shonin's writings directly, it can be very difficult. Even for us, even for me, even as a minister, sometimes the philosophy of Shinran Shonin becomes very difficult. But Reverend Gattenby was able to capture, I think, the essence of Shinran Shonin's thought in his writings in this series of 3 books. And the quotation that I opened my talk with is from Shinran Shonin's the Jodo Wasan, the first set of wasans that he wrote. Because of the vow, if they should not be born there, when the moment of genuine entrusting has come, and people attain the one thought moment of joy, their birth becomes completely settled. From the Jodo Wasan, number 26. The first line of the vow refers to the 18th vow of Amida Buddha, which states, as found in the larger sutra, if when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters, with sincere mind entrusting themselves, aspiring to be born in my land, and saying my names perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain supreme enlightenment. And excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the Dharma. So Reverend Gattenby points out a very important aspect of this wasan. And in this section, he so happens to title this section, Watching Plums Ripen and Flowers Bloom. Watching plums ripen and flowers bloom. And in this wasan, this aspect of this wasan, he highlights the line, when the moment of genuine entrusting has come. When the moment of genuine entrusting has come. Here, Shinran Shonin is referring to the moment when we awaken to this idea of shinji, this idea of this entrusting heart, when we entrust ourselves to something. And I think we could ask the question, well, how do we know when we've awakened to shinji? How do we know when we awaken to shinji? Very difficult to answer, right? I don't know it because I haven't awakened to Shinji, so I can't tell you the answer. But Reverend Gatenby, in his book, he goes on to explain it in this way, and I think maybe this will provide some sort of insight into Shinran Shonin's thought. Reverend Gatenby says that there is a developmental phase in the awakening of Shinji. In Shinran Shonin's experience, this realization is spontaneous, as natural as waking from sleep. But this again reminds us of a tendency that we have as consumers, as human beings, in a production-oriented society, a passion for immediacy and control. Sensei goes on to state, when it comes to religion, we are hungry for control. We're not satisfied with simply allowing serene Shinjin to arise in its own time. Instead, we find ourselves striving to force it. In other words, we want immediacy, right? We want to achieve and realize Shinjin now, this minute. Reverend Gatenby goes on he notes that Shinran Shonin speaks of Amida's Shinjin in the same way we describe the ripening of fruit, or a flower coming into bud, or a cloud forming and dropping cooling and soothing rain, or growing old gracefully, or a sea breeze rising from the ocean on a hot day, or being taken by surprise by the scent of gardenias, or the rush of spring when suddenly the world bursts into bloom. Here, I think Reverend Gatenby is telling us is that all of these things and many, many more experiences in life happen while we are getting on with life. None of them, he goes on to say, can be induced. We can't force any of this by ourselves. These are all naturally occurring activities that nothing's being rushed, right? All of these things are just natural experiences throughout our life. I think to put it another way, he asks, do we keep feeling our pulse to see if we are alive? Right? Do we constantly check our pulse every day to make sure we're alive? If our pulse is not functioning, we are not going to be able to feel it anyway, he says. So, right, you, all of us, we're alive at this moment, but we're not checking our pulse to make sure, am I alive? I'm alive. And Gatenby Sensei closes this section of his book stating, what matters is living and not worrying about whether we're alive or not. Give up everything, abandon worry. Place everything in Amida Buddha's hands and live freely with happiness while just saying the name Namo Amida Butsu. When I read this section, these books came out earlier this year through Reverend Kuwahara's the JSIO, the Shinshu International Office, as one of his programs. And I believe, when I read this, I believe this is what Yamaoka Sensei was telling us through this idea of the green persimmon. Reflect on sadness and pain as part of our life's experience. It's okay to feel sadness and pain, Sensei would often say in his messages, especially at funeral time. It's okay to feel the sadness and the pain. Do not force things to feel better with immediacy. Don't think that, the loss, when we experience the loss of a loved one, the pain doesn't go away, obviously, right away. Right? We've all experienced this. In time, I think we can begin to understand this type of change in our lives with a sense of gratitude and appreciation. Just like the sweet flavor of the green persimmon ripening on the tree with time. Sensei, again, Yamaoka Sensei had a way of being able to capture this idea of not looking towards immediacy, as Reverend Gatenby mentions. Things take time, Sensei would often say. There's no need to rush anything. And I thank Reverend Yamaoka for always reminding us that a life of Nembutsu is a life of meaning, a life of growth and a life of gratitude. So it was strange fortunate that our paths were able to cross when I was born. When I was born, Sensei was at Oakland Temple, and then he left in 71, and then he came back in 96, at which time I was serving again on the board. And so to have served under Sensei, not as bishop, but as our resident minister at Oakland, was a sort of a different relationship. You know, as executive secretary or assistant to the bishops at BCA headquarters, I look to them more as my boss. Well, they are my boss, right? But with Yamamoto Sensei, having served as bishop and then coming into our temple as resident minister, it was a really wonderful, friendly relationship that I will always cherish. And so that his sentence, his line at these memorial services, like the green persimmon ripening on the tree with time, feelings of sadness and sorrow turn to sweet memories with time. Again, no immediacy needed. We just need time to reflect. And the importance of Shinran Shonin's Nemo's teaching, the Buddha Dharma in our life too, to help guide us through these difficult times. This is what I think Bishop Yamamoto was trying to instill in us when he gave his messages to all of us. And his appreciation of the Dharma came out in this way. So again, I'd like to thank all of you for being here on this occasion of our BCA Bishop's late Bishop's Memorial Service. And I would like to close with the reading of Endo Shonin's Bobusho letters. So if you please join me in Gassho. Namo.上人一流のご関係の趣は信心をもって本当せられそうそのゆえはもろもろの造業を投げ捨てて一心に皆に奇妙すれば不可思議の眼力として仏の方より往生は事情せしめたもそのくらいを一年発起入賞上始終とも釈しその上の称名念仏った如来我が往生を定めたまいしご恩法人の念仏と心できないアナカシコアナカシコ What is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is that the entrusting heart is essential. For when we abandon various practices and take refuge in Amida with singleness of heart, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through the inconceivable Lao power. The state we thus attain is described as, with awakening of a single thought of entrusting, we join those who are in the stage of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of gratitude for the Tathagata's benevolence for settling our birth in the Pure Land. Humbly and respectfully, I remain. Namo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei, for your warm and personal connection with the office of the bishop, especially with Reverend Yamamoto. And we certainly should give great gratitude to Reverend Yamamoto's perseverance and encouraging Reverend Endo on behalf of the Jodo Shinshu. Thank you, Sensei. Please stand for the closing gatha, Shinshu Shuka, on page 216 of the purple book. This will close our Bishop's Memorial Service for today, and I'd like to extend a thank you to George Dow for arranging the concho and for setting up the Onai, the organist, Dr. Kent, and the flowers and offerings to the August Tobon, led by Lauren, Linda, and Helen. And of course, the videography today was done by Tyrone, who will also do the editing, and you can review at a later date at your convenience. In addition to today's service, we have a special presentation which we'd like to have made by the Scholarship Committee to its recipients of this year's scholarships. Lauren Miyazaki, head of our committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. In May of this year, the Enmanji Scholarship Committee selection members, composed of Barbara Dinkelspiel, Donna Fugino, and Milton Yoshioka, announced that they had awarded scholarships to 3 very deserving high school seniors. We are most fortunate to say that these individuals are here with us today. The committee, along with assistance from Reverend Endo, would like to introduce these students to the Sangha. So at this time, with Emily Miyazaki, Wyatt Hansen, and Ethan Miyazaki, please come forward. Each of our scholarship winners will receive a monetary award of $1,000 for their outstanding achievement. They will also be given a plaque to commemorate this special occasion, as well as a congratulatory letter from the Buddhist Churches of America that was signed by Bishop Margaret Rada and BCA President Glenn Inanaga. We'll begin with Emily Miyazaki. Emily received the Charles and Hiroko Yamamoto Memorial Scholarship. Emily graduated from California High School located in San Ramon. She will be attending the University of California in San Diego. Her major will be in biology. Emily's career choice is dentistry. And her parents are also dentists. Wyatt Hansen. Wyatt received an Enmanji Buddhist Temple Scholarship. Wyatt graduated from St. Vincent de Paul College Prep in Petaluma. He will be attending Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. His major and career choice is in business administration and entrepreneurship. Ethan Miyazaki. Ethan received an Enmanji Buddhist Temple Scholarship. Like his twin Emily, Ethan also graduated from California High School in San Ramon. He will be attending the University of Washington in Seattle. His major is in environmental design and sustainability. Ethan's career choice is urban and transportation planning. Our congratulations go out to these exceptional students who have excelled academically, as well as with community and extracurricular involvement. Also, congratulations to their proud families for the guidance they have provided, and some of those sleepless nights, I'm sure. So let's all give a hand for the winners. Job well done. Thank you very much.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, smile. Please hold. 1, 2,
Congratulations to each of you, Emily, Ethan, and Wyatt. We hope to see lots of good things come out of today's presentation. Thank you. Are there any other announcements that anyone would like to make at this time? Yes.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I have quite a few announcements I need to make. As Reverend Endo mentioned, the books that he was talking about, Gleanings of the Pure Land, Enmanji does have a set of those 3 books in our library if anybody is interested in taking a look at them or checking them out. Reverend Endo also mentioned the Wasans from Shinran Shonin, and those can all be found in the collected works of Shinran, of which we have copies of those in the back of the temple here. They're all in volume 1 of the 2-volume set. So if anybody is interested, we have those two volume sets available also. For those who are artists, the BCA Art Committee, which is led by Reverend Fujimoto, the entries for this year's art exhibit has a deadline of September 1st, so if there's anyone that's interested in submitting something to the BCA art exhibit, you have until September 1st to let Reverend Fujimoto know. And starting next month, we start our yoga sessions with Christine Matsumoto DeVoe, and she is going to be starting at 12:30. That time may not work out for everybody, but if people that are attending would like to have a different time, please let her know. Anybody with any experience is allowed to come to the sessions, and she will be able to accommodate people of any ability. She also is quite very familiar with people who engage in chair yoga, so you don't necessarily need to be extremely athletic to come to these sessions. And in addition to that, Christine is going to be attending the BCA Red Carpet Weekend at the end of this month, so she will have even more information about what BCA does. And I believe that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent. Are there any other announcements? Christine.
So just to go a little further on the yoga that we'll be starting, it's free and it's available to anyone, not just Sangha members. So if you know any people who would benefit from learning and having yoga in their life, please invite them to join us. I'm donating 10 yoga mats, 10 yoga blankets, and 20 yoga blocks to assist people to the temple. So we'll have equipment available. You don't have to bring it if you don't have it. We'll also always have the option for you to do chair yoga for folks who don't have as much mobility. But it's something that the BCA is really trying to push. We have quite a few temples that are starting the yoga program, and I think we're actually one of the first. So Dr. Kent's been pivotal in pushing that here. So I look forward to seeing everyone there. And again, it is open to everyone, so if you know anyone in the community, please let them know. I'll try and have some flyers up, and there is an email address on the flyer that's here at the temple. You can email me at any time if you have any questions, okay? Thank you.
I suppose we have no excuse because we can also use a chair. So I hope we have a good turnout for that session next month. Thank you once again, Reverend Endo, for joining us for this special memorial service. And there will be light refreshments served after the service, and we hope that everyone will join and have a few moments with Reverend Endo and the recipients of our scholarship today.
Sorry, I wasn't fast enough. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the new graduates and hope you all have a wonderful new life and be back one of these days to tell us. But I also would like to, I don't know if people have noticed yet, but in the kitchen, our repairs have been completed. And so that now takes our next step, which means it needs to be cleaned and everything replaced. That will happen on this coming Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. So anybody available, we'll appreciate if you come and help us. Thank you.
Okay, have refreshments next door, and we'll see everybody there. Thank you for coming today.